We're hopping right in some gameplay action here in our 2K25 draft-only franchise with the Blizzard. We're going to be taking a look at the first overall pick from 2 years ago, who developed up to an 89 overall just after year one. He'll certainly be a problem for us at some point here in the series, it feels like, but right now the Clippers don't seem to be posing too much of a threat this year. I did make a trade for them, adding some forwards onto the team. They had 3 centers over 80 overall and no forwards over 75. I'll be occasionally making some of those kind of roster balancing trades here throughout the season. At this point, you know, we're several seasons in. I think this is season 5 if I'm not mistaken. And so at this point, the CPU has had many years to kind of make some really imbalanced rosters, and I'll try to go through and balance them out just a little bit. Nice play there by Albert Ellis in transition previously. But if there are any major trades that involve, you know, high-end players, then of course I'll show them to you. But I'll just be making several trades kind of in the background. Try to get it to the point where there aren't any teams that have, you know, 380 plus overall players at one position, but then a 74 overall starter at another. Unless it's, you know, shooting guard, small forward, because you can start 2 small forwards and etc. etc. You know what I mean. But certainly the roster building needs a little bit of help from time to time. In pretty much any video game, I feel like a lot of these video games have made some strides in roster building in recent years, but still the CPU struggles a little bit, and I like that it's really easy in 2K to just hop in, quick fix a team, and make them a lot better in a matter of a few minutes. Alan Larson stuffing Cameron McKnight there, and we're off to a 14-9 lead early in this one. McKnight gets another opportunity. This time drills it for 3. Attacking downhill, Trae Young gets to the basket for the easy 2. Now it's Saramago who drives downhill and puts another man on his long list of posters. That's the recently acquired Kobe Brown here. And it just feels like last year, but even especially this year, he might just be doing that on a nightly basis, adding people to the list that he's absolutely posterized. He's become an awesome downhill attacking threat. Early on in his career, I was a little afraid that he'd be a little jumper heavy, but as he's developed, he's become more and more aggressive attacking downhill. He's starting to get to the free throw line at a really high rate, which is awesome to see as well. May not be the best for the fan viewing experience. Nobody loves watching free throws all game, but it certainly helped his consistency, and there's nothing I love better than a dominant driving threat in basketball. So fun to watch. Christie there gets a second chance at the off the dribble 3 and makes this one count. Clippers had the lead there for a moment, but Vancouver takes it back here. Alex Temple with a tough look inside, and the defense forcing the miss. In transition, nice pass by Saramago to find Jackson for the deuce. Porter way short on that pull-up jumper. Vancouver running the other way. The give is to Saramago. Bader, no good there. Now it's the Clippers going the other way. Stolen away by Jackson, and now Saramago has a clear lane to the basket, gets fouled, and scores with it. As well as second chance in transition, and Saramago makes the most of it. Tough shot there by Miller. He made it tougher than it needed to be. And now the rookie Sanders here, Clippers' most recent selection in the lottery. with the basket. Rodman. Thought he had some space, but it closed up quickly there. Ends up missing the three. Temple off the dribble. Drills the triple on the other end. 29-26 now. A minute and a half remain. Christie wide open look. He drills it and we're tied. This Clippers team looking pretty solid here in the first quarter. Leonard Miller gives us back the lead. Got a better look that time around. Sanders attacking downhill, but Saramago is an excellent defender. Down low, forcing the miss here. Last shot of the first quarter is blocked away by Zubats. Victor Jackson absolutely stuffed, and that's going to end off the first quarter for us here, and we instantly see the replay of that final play. Temple, plenty of space, and he knocks down another jumper. Albert Ellis checking back in to start the second quarter. This is his chance to shine, and he's off to a good start there, drilling the three. Temple, no good this time around. Better defense there. Pick and roll works to perfection for the Clippers. Zubats with the flush. Miller left too much space, but can't hit it this time. Now in isolation, Ellis finds the wide open man on the kick out. Excellent pass, but couldn't get the result we wanted. KPJ, no good again for three. Ellis, acrobatic drive, and it's blocked away. In transition, Trae Young drills the triple, and the Clippers retake the lead. This has been a fun, competitive game so far, and Ellis responds with a triple. Off the timeout, Trae Young trying to match it, but he can't. Pick and roll, Ellis, space behind the arc again, and it's another triple. Lead back in Vancouver's favor. Stolen away. Christie in transition finds Leonard Miller. Out to Garrett in the corner, setting up for an Albert Ellis jumper inside the arc this time, but the jumper is fallen for Albert Ellis. Going for another one here, but misses this time. You can't hit them all even when you are feeling it. It's a second opportunity here, and another Albert Ellis three, 14 points in the first 6 minutes of the second quarter for Albert Ellis. He has been on fire. Alan Larson there, the second chance points. We're trying to get some more Albert Ellis points on the board here in the second quarter, and he drills another three. Now 17 second quarter points. Nice finish there by Alan Larson, up to 10 points today. Ellis continue to feed him, this time driving inside and finishing in traffic. He is loving it here. How about a little more Albert Ellis? The spin and the shots. Using the inside hand there on the finish. A little unorthodox, but when you're feeling it, you can make pretty much anything. Christie inside. Nice cuts. Nice flush. Ellis on fire. Attacking downhill again. Just can't quite get the finish this time around. Larson has a mismatch in the post. The double comes, but we're able to force the miss. Saramago, after the rebound, pulls up and banks one in from the mid-range. Larson has Ellis in the post. Good help defense by Saramago. We force another miss. Clippers are getting the mismatches in the post, but Larson unable to make the most of them as McKnight hits the step back J. That's a three ball for Temple. He's been really solid for the Clippers in this first half. Saramago, solid look on the jumper. Can't hit it. Clippers going the other way, and no good in transition. Post now. Saramago finds a wide open Albert Ellis, and on maybe his easiest attempt of the half, he misses it. Temple, another jumper on the board for the Clippers. He's probably been their best player so far in the first half. But it'll be 60-55 heading into the halftime break for Vancouver. Albert Ellis with his best quarter in a spotlight game so far. He might be earning that Easy A nickname back here to start this year. He was really efficient last time. Not as much volume, but now we're seeing that even with the increased volume, Albert Ellis is looking like a different animal here in his third season. Turns the ball over here to start the second half, though, and why did Michael Graham slow up there? There's something weird about the transition defense in 2K, and I don't really know why anyone would slow down when there's literally a player running to the basket. But it is what it is, as Garrett Banks won it. Kobe Brown in the post, trying to score over Saramago. That's not going to work. He blocked it right back onto his head. Ellis, he had Garrett. Goes for the post fadeaway instead, and definitely should have opted for the pass in that scenario. Won't matter much, though, as Saramago drills the three anyway. McKnight coming off the cut, but is stolen away by Christie as McKnight was trying to put it on the deck, but good defense in transition to force the Alex Temple miss. Ellis trying to make up for missing Garrett earlier by finding him there, but Garrett can't hit the three. Good defense. All alone, McKnight, free lane to the basket, and we get some Showtime McKnight with the double clutch dunk. Christie finds the cutting Trae Young, who scores it in for two. 7-point lead here. Ellis trying to respond with a cutting play of his own. And he scores in traffic there. 29 points now on the day for Easy A. Albert Ellis. That's right. I'm giving him his nickname back after that first half. That was truly electric stuff here. Tried to find McKnight, but the errant pass and then a terrible foul in transition on top of it. Not a good look. Christie. There we go. Offense needed a little bit of a jump start there, and we get one through Max Christie. Young attacking Clayton Rodman here and scoring inside. If I had to point out one weakness I've seen so far in kind of the game and a half plus I've seen, teams are willing to attack Clayton Rodman defensively. He's not a good defender at all. Will that come back to bite us? I'm not sure. You know, he plays 16 minutes a game. So I feel like that's something that could be avoided, but it is something to look out for. Clayton Rodman is very attackable, and he has been getting attacked with regularity when he's been on the floor. Ellis inside for two more. What a game it's been for Albert Ellis. McKnight, great look. Straight away, three falls for him, and we lead by a dozen here. We approach the 2-minute mark. Alex Temple continues to be the hot hand for Los Angeles in this game. He's just hitting jumpers off the catch at an insanely high rate. KPJ attacking downhill, finding Zubats for two. Under 90 seconds remain here in the third. Clayton Rodman setting up a look for McKnight. That's another three on the board for Greenlight. Pick and roll. Christie and Saramago feeds it inside. And the easy flush for the Brazilian Beast. He's up over 30 on the day. McKnight another look for three. This time can't hit. And now Los Angeles has one more shot prior to the fourth quarter, and Temple does it again. He's been really good. I remember Temple when he was in the draft, and he had some upside. He wasn't a great three-point shooter to start, but he certainly developed it. You can't tell by this game. In transition here to start the fourth quarter, an easy look for Easy A. And he drills it to give the Blizzard a double-digit lead. Temple trying to answer, and he does. This guy's on fire. Max Christie trying to respond, and he gets another one in. The threes are raining down here to start the fourth, and one on the drive by Trae Young. Good finish there. McKnight finds a man inside. That's Saramago, who gets the and one of his own on the other end. Trae Young attacking downhill and make it. We went from 3 straight threes to 3 straight and ones. Different ways to get 3 points, but they all count the same. Kevin Porter Jr. left alone. He's just not been much of an asset offensively for the Clippers in this game. Saramago wide open look from 2, but he put a little too much on it. Ellis. That jumper falls for him. Continuing to stay hot here in the second half with the jumper. Bounce pass to Zubats there. Nice pick and roll for the Clippers. Saramago for 3. He hits it. Now it's a 15-point lead here. Things are looking favorable for another spotlight victory for our Blizzard. Albert Ellis finds Saramago. Make that 17 points now, or we're getting close to getting to a spot where we might be able to call this one a ball game, but had to get at least one more Alex Temple basket in before we called it a game. I mean, we're seeing a career night from Albert Ellis, but it's also a career night for Alex Temple at the same time, and I think we're going to call that Saramago jumper the official end here. 112 to 137 is your final. Saramago with a casual 52-point performance. All while Albert Ellis drops 41, 5, and 6. That has to be his career high, doesn't it? Yes, it was. 35, the previous career high. 41, the first 40-point performance in the young career of Albert Ellis. He looked really good, especially in that second quarter where he went absolutely off. And this offense is looking really good. The concerns we've had when Saramago's off the floor have looked less concerning here to start this year. Alex Temple also with his career high in this game for the Clippers. We're going to end off the episode here towards the end of November. Wanted to end around that 20-game mark for the season and then get a little bit of a snapshot for where our players are. But before we do that, one thing I haven't tracked a lot, I think well enough in this series up to this point, is our team stats, because I kind of watched the games and I figured out our strengths and weaknesses from there. But there's also just stats that tell you where you're good and where you're bad, and that's valuable information. As you can see, the Pistons off to a really hot start, the best team in basketball right now. If you go on points per game, we are by far the best scoring team in basketball. 5.5 points more a game than anybody else is impressive. The moves we made to make our offense better, they are working in a major way. Points allowed per game, we're going to be a little bit more towards the middle of the pack. So the 11th worst defense in basketball. But when you have such a big lead for the offense, I think you can take that. And that ends up with us having the 4th best differential in the league. We shoot 48% from the field, which is the 4th best in basketball. We're the top of the teams that aren't shooting 500 or better. We take the 3rd most threes in basketball, and we make them at the 3rd best rate. Free throws wise, We attempt 9th most in the league, and we are the 3rd best at hitting them. Offensive rebound percentage, 6th in basketball. Defensive rebounds were not quite as good. So I do think there's a drop off there from Duran to Graham. Of course, when we watched the game, Graham in his debut had 21 rebounds, but you know, on a consistency basis, it's not quite there. We're still good though. Top 10 rebounding team per game. We led the NBA in assists per game last year. We are back there again. We are 2nd in the NBA in steals. Blocks, not so much. A little more average in this area, or 5.4, which is tied for a lot of teams for pretty much the middle of the league. In terms of turning the ball over, it looks like we're fairly standard there as well. Put us in just above average. These turnovers are sorted by most is number 1 for some reason. In terms of avoiding fouls, we're pretty good there. Points off of turnovers. So we create a lot of steals. We're not doing as good of a job as you want in turning them into points either. And we're not doing a great job of taking advantage of our offensive rebounds. We have the second, really tied for the 2nd worst second chance points in all of basketball, despite being number 6 in offensive rebound percentage. Surprisingly enough, we are one of the worst teams in all of basketball and scoring in the paints. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It does make sense that our bench scoring is low. We play our starters a lot of minutes, and there are always starters on the court that will be taking a lot of the shots. And so bench scoring being low isn't really much of a concern for me. In terms of opponent field goal percentage, looks like we're pretty much kind of middle of the pack here. And I'm hoping that as I've kind of gone through this, you're also able to see where the Seattle Supersonics have ended up in some of these. We're also really bad at allowing 3-point percentage. We allow 38% from the field. But now let's go ahead and look a little bit more towards individuals here. Sorting by points per game, Saramago leads us. He's actually scoring a little bit less than he did last year, but he's grabbing an extra rebound and getting an extra assist. His steals and blocks are also up. He's shooting 43% from 3. And I think there's just more mouths to feed this year, so I'm not concerned by the slight drop in points per game at all. Cameron McKnight is currently averaging his career high at 22 points per game, 4 and 3. He's been kind of a 4 and 2, 4 and 3 player his entire career, shooting 43% from 3 as well. Albert Ellis, much improved this year, up to 20 points per game, career high in assists as well, steals up there, shooting 52% from the field and 40% from 3. That is his best year by far so far. And Rudolph Garrett, 16 points per game, 3 rebounds and 3 assists, 49% from the field and 35 from 3 is excellent. 1.2 steals as well. Max Christie then, up with 10 points per game. He is shooting the ball really well, 41% from 3, 46% from the field, also really good at the assists. I know there are some that want Max Christie gone. I think he does some valuable things. Now that he's coming off the bench, I think he's right where he needs to be. 9.4 points per game for Leonard Miller, who's shooting 53% from the field and 41% from 3. That's way above what he's been as a player in Vancouver, so I'll be interested to see if that keeps up, because he didn't really get much in the way of improvements with the offseason progression, but I would love for him to keep that up. Then you have Michael Graham here, only 9.4 points per game, but you know, he's not going to be super heavily involved in the offense. 2.7 assists to 1.1 turnovers is pretty good for center. 45% from the field, 20% from 3. Clayton Rodman here, really struggling. He has actually regressed from last year, which you don't love to see. He's playing pretty much the same minutes per game. Hopefully that over time that can come up, but it's going to be kind of like Albert Ellis, I feel like, where he's going to need a lot of development before he starts to play well. I'm hoping next year, once he gets some silver badges, he'll likely be into the 80s. Then he'll be, a really good guard coming off the bench. Victor Jackson here. Let's go back. 5 points per game, 4 rebounds, just 37% from the field and under 30% from three, though, is not good at all. And that's pretty much it for the rotation. So that's where we're going to head off this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back soon with another. And until then, bring the Blizzard.